Rockers in Recovery Media is dedicated to carrying the message of addiction recovery through music, news, events, and festivals taking place within and not limited to the clean and sober community.
Hey guys, John Hollis with Rockers in Recovery. I want to welcome everybody to the show tonight. Real exciting things coming up in 2018. You can check us out at rockersinrecovery.com and see everything that's happening. You can click on the event page, the event tab, and find out about the event coming up. It's going to be at the Hard Rock Cafe in Nashville. We're looking forward to lots of folks coming out and being a part of the show. And, of course, it's going to be a part of Music Cares. Anything that comes through the door that night is $20 at the door, and please come on out so that way that money can go right to Music Cares. And Music Cares helps a lot of people. You can check out musiccares.com as part of the Grammys. And check them out. They have some great stuff there that they do. They help musicians and people get into treatment and fund it for them and do lots of other stuff to help them, maybe getting housing to helping them fix their teeth. I mean, there's on a number of things that they can help you do. So the money from the event, that's going to be January 27th at the Hard Rock Cafe in Nashville. Come on out, join us. And $20 at the door all goes to Music Cares. We have our friend tonight, Sam, from Amethyst Recovery Center. Sam, of course, and Amethyst, they have been a part of Rockers in Recovery for a few years now. They are also our media partner. What that means is it's people like Sam and Amethyst Recovery Center that's for 365 days a year helps Rockers in Recovery get our message out as far as the media aspect is concerned. And, of course, over and above that, they do things like help us to put on events and concerts and things like that. And they are also sponsoring, on top of being a media sponsor, sponsoring the upcoming event in Nashville. And, Sam, welcome to the show. I want to thank you for being part of Rockers in Recovery.
Hey, John, thanks a lot, man. Yeah, it was a pleasure, man. We had a really good time at your last event at the 101 Club. And it was really cool, man. It's a place that's dear to my heart. It's the clubhouse that got me sober. I attended a sober living 7 years ago, right behind it. And I remember having to do community service for some legal issues I had when I first was in halfway there. And I remember scrubbing the toilets there and cleaning in that place. And to get to go there and be a sponsor of an event 7 years later, only that's only in God's plans that something like that was able to happen.
The cool part about that, too, is through the day, I mean, because of support from guys like you and Amethyst, we were able to cover all of the expenses of putting on the event. So everything that came through the door and all the food, which was excellent, all went to the 101.
Shout out to AJ for your steak and cheese subs. They were absolutely delicious.
There you go, man. Yeah, AJ's a good guy. We literally, I mean, they ended up, they walked away with $6,000 that they're able to use towards the budget next year at the 101 Club.
Man,
you know what I mean?
awesome.
Hey, listen, yeah, and reality is that
they are the real deal.
Yeah, no doubt. And, Music Cares is the same thing, what we're getting ready to do up in Nashville. It's a huge undertaking, but the cool part is that Music Cares has been helping people since 2004. They've been around, and just a huge organization. They're part of the Grammys, and but they do so much for the community, or the recovery community, and of course the music community. So it's a huge undertaking, but it's well worth it. So here's my question to you, because I think that, there's a lot of things going on right now that we need to talk about. One of them is, you deal with everyday operations at Amethyst Recovery Center. How can we, as a community, helping others and making treatment more efficient to people financially, because there's so much going on right now in the insurance community that a lot of people aren't getting paid, so you can't give the services that you're supposed to be giving, but you still give them, but you're not getting paid for them. So how can that continue to happen and the insurance companies continue to get away with not paying their bill?
Yeah, it's a difficult question, and there's many sides to it. Obviously, there's been a lot of fraud and abuse, especially throughout the entire treatment industry over the years, and recently it's become a hot topic, and a lot of places have closed their doors, and a lot of the billing practices and regulations and guidelines for that have changed. That being said, you're up against an insurance company where most of their CEOs are making $20 million bonuses and so forth, and they're telling you that you can't give this client one extra day of care due to they don't meet some criteria, whatever it is. So you're dealing with a tough thing. You have one side of it where it's a managed care system, and they're only authorizing a certain amount of days, and then you have the other side of it where you're attempting to bill for a service that they're asking you to provide and you're required to provide, and they're not able to do it. I mean, luckily we've always kind of bundled our billing rate, put it all in one rate, which is the way that you're supposed to be doing it. A lot of places don't do that, but that's kind of what we do. We stick right to the payer's guidelines, and we just, any other service that we provide, we just do it per diem on our own, and that's kind of how we've always been and always done it. As far as the community, I mean, it's a difficult question because you're dealing against these major insurance companies. There's not a whole lot the community can do. Continuous outcry, asking for more days and longer authorizations, is going to help us, and it's going to help us help our patients.
When somebody goes into treatment and they're dealing with their insurance company or a loved one that is on their insurance plan, they can actually call up and start to, have a process with this too. Like, say they're denying, more days. Can't they call the insurance company and try to get more days from them, or to at least file some kind of a grievance process with them?
Yeah, absolutely. No, you can. We always do encourage family involvement, especially in those situations. It's very important to have the family involved throughout the whole process. A lot of times, the family will call and say something, but the insurance company, again, they don't really answer to anybody, so it's kind of their choice on what they do.
Well, that's kind of a scary thing too, when there's nobody looking at the person or regulating the person that, and they say they're regulated, but not regulated. What do you think that the overall, as far as the epidemic that's happening out there, there's a lot of people that don't have insurance. There's a lot of people that do have insurance and are going through this process. Is it hindering the overall picture of 144 people a day that are dying from this epidemic? The people that are trying to get clean, is it hindering this thing?
Yes, no, they definitely are. There definitely is a lot of pushback from the insurance companies. It makes it difficult, and especially with, a lot of the new laws that, consider enticement or so forth like that. You have to be very careful on what you do and what you say. Like, for an example, if a client is authorized for a certain amount of days for a certain level of care, and even if your doctor or whoever it is, your clinician, your medical director thinks that they should have more days, and you fight it and you lose that review with the insurance company, and you give them more days anyways, and you send a chart in, and the insurance company sees that, they are immediately flagging your chart, and they're looking and saying, you enticed this patient. You gave this patient more care than we authorized you to do so. That's a kickback. That's enticement, and we're not paying you, and you can even get in trouble with regulators as far as that. So it's a very difficult thing. A lot of times you're sitting there, and you know what's right for the patient. You're dealing with them on a day-to-day basis, but some doctor who's 1,000 miles away over the phone just going over some basic criteria, they're kind of telling you what you got to do with the patient. So it can be very difficult. It's a tough thing, man.
In the end, when you start to look at the big picture of, recovery as a whole, it's difficult for somebody to make the decision to begin with or walk through the door. And now they're up against a third party that doesn't even know them or doesn't even care.
Yeah, that is what you're up against. And it's a hard thing, man. We do a lot of things, to help the community and to give back. Mm-hmm. And, we do a lot of scholarships. We take a lot of detox scholarships, especially with the new detox opening and so forth. But, we're getting squeezed tighter and tighter every day. And it's very difficult. A lot of people think that, they hear all these stories and they hear about all these places and stuff like that, make all this money. But to be honest with you, even in out-of-network treatment, especially in the state of Florida, which is so regulated and so cut down on what your reimbursement rates are, to profit anything. If anyone's thinking about starting a business in Florida, do not open a treatment center because it is not easy right now to operate down here.
So here's, and that brings me to the next issue here, because a lot of this began with organizations that were not doing the right thing, and 95 to 98% of the organizations that are in the state of Florida are working their asses off, pardon my French, to do the right thing and to help people. And you have that 3% or 4% that are, bad apples, and they're cleaning that out and they're cleaning that up, but everybody else is getting harmed, especially the client.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, 100%. I mean, you have kind of two kinds of people, I would say. You have the organizations that are intentionally doing the wrong thing, intentionally harming the patients, and a lot of those ones have really disappeared, and I really have seen a huge improvement down here on those places that, are just blatantly, committing fraud and just terrible patient care. However, you have a huge group of people, and it's a lot of arguments back and forth, that think they're doing the right thing, that think that their billing practices are ethical, that believe that their patient care is, the best that there is. But when you really dig into it, and they're screaming out how self-righteous they are, it's really not. And it's interesting to me, a lot of the people that get talked negatively about and a lot of the people get talked positively about, it's really not that way. So it's interesting that, have been in this industry for a while and kind of seeing both sides of the coin and meeting a lot of people, trying to navigate, what is the right thing? What is the right way to treat the patient? What is, the right level of care? How much care can you give them before you're, giving too much or too little, and where is that at? So it is difficult.
As far as the community outreach part of your organization, you personally and Amethyst, because there, Amethyst Recovery Center is, and the detox and all of that are helping a lot of people, and you're scholarshiping people, but there becomes a point where if you're doing that and you're helping people and you want to help people, listen, regardless, I know you personally, and I know you want to help people. So in the end, what happens is if you start running an organization that has 60 or 70% scholarships, you can't fund the scholarships. Eventually, your doors are going to close.
No, that's absolutely right. We do a lot of scholarships. I keep usually somewhere between 10 to 15% of my beds at scholarships. You got a lot of people out there that need help. We do a lot of donations to the community. And most of all, the best thing that we have, as an outreach team, is that we have relationships with so many different places and so many different resources that, no matter who reaches out to us at any given time, we can always find assistance for them. That's kind of the number one thing that I've always put into, my team, is that no matter who reaches out to you, you find them somewhere, you find them help, and you don't stop until you do. And by doing so, that's really how you can help the most people. Even if you can't help them directly, I can't tell you how many calls I've gotten, and a lot of my guys on my team have gotten, a year later, hey, I called you, you couldn't take me in your facility, but you found me this great place in Pennsylvania, and now I'm coming up on my year sober. And it's really beautiful to see that. So, continuously to help people outside your organization is absolutely important, and something that we definitely instill into our guys.
So here's the $1 million question for tonight. What kind of changes are needed to, help more people go through the process of treatment efficiently? What would you say that needs to happen to make that even better?
Sure. One of the main things, and I have seen it, as of recently improve a little bit, is that, 4 or 5 years ago, all these treatment centers were fighting with each other. They're all fighting over, whose clients are going to go where, and, different media platforms and so forth. But we need to come together. All the different treatment centers kind of need to come together and form a coalition and form a group to be able to go at the insurance companies. We're kind of so segregated that it's difficult for any one of us to really stand up at any given point. So I believe that, a lot of us coming together, working with different, attorneys and lobbyists and so forth, we're able to really put that together. I think we could do something special and really advocate to be able to give the patients better care, longer care, and higher levels of care for longer periods of time. And that's kind of, the most important thing, the longer care, the better results. And, that's the way it's going to be. There is some talk with some of the changes in the payer, and I've already seen, it trending that way to get to more of a result-based treatment. And, they have some ideas of, they pay you a certain fee, and if after they pay you that fee, you're responsible to keep that patient or take that patient back throughout a whole year. And no matter what happens throughout that year, you have to take the patient back. So something like that where you can, show your outcomes and kind of stand behind your stamp on what you do, I think would be a fantastic thing. And I really hope it does trend that way instead of squeezing us down so far and, taking people in and they get, sometimes a week of treatment. I'd much rather, be able to have kind of a flat fee treatment for, however long of time, whether that be a year or 2 years, and you can kind of put your guarantee and stamp on it. So hopefully, this will continue on, and you'll kind of see these treatment centers come together and pull together to form these coalitions to kind of stand up to the insurance company and lobby for, really lobby for our patients.
Amazing stuff, Sam. I love what you're doing, and I love how, it's altruistic, but, also you got to pay the bills, and, you have that balance, and you help a lot of people. And, of course, I see you not just with Rockers in Recovery reaching out to the community. You do it through other organizations. You guys are tireless and selfless, and, I just want to, thank you for being on the show tonight, and thank you for being, part of Rockers in Recovery again. And, we look forward to seeing you up in Nashville and being a part of that event.
Yeah, absolutely, John. I'm really looking forward to it. It's a great event, and I will see you there. And thanks for having me on the show.
Not a problem, man. And if you can, check out Sam by going to, what's your website, Sam, so they can find you?
www.amethystrecovery.org. And we just redid our website, and we just put a virtual tour of the detox and a bunch of new pictures of the detox on there. It's absolutely beautiful, and I hope you guys enjoy it.
Sounds great. Sam, thank you for being on the show. And again, amethystrecoverycenter.org. Is that correct, Sam?
No, amethystrecovery.org. Close.
amethystrecovery.org. There we go. amethystrecovery.org. Check it out. New website. You guys can check that out and be a part of what they're doing in their virtual tour and do some other things on the site. You can also contact people there, too. You can send a contact right there to Sam if you wanted to ask him a question, too. Sam, again, thanks
Absolutely.
for being on the show.
Thanks,
all right,
John.
brother. We'll
Bye.
talk soon. Yeah, man. Bye. All right, guys. There you go. Rockers in Recovery. We want to thank everybody for being a part of Rockers in Recovery and making our shows possible. And, of course, we want to thank Amethyst Recovery Center for sponsoring our events and being a media partner. Check out rockersinrecovery.com. You can click on media partners to see who the other media partners are. You can access Music Cares, and you can access other organizations right there at Media Partners. We look forward to doing another show tomorrow night. And in the meantime, I want to tell you that, have a great day and change my ways. To the light, keep coming back. Give your brother to the blues. Keep coming back, Lord. What you got to lose? Well, I walk the road of thunder. I walk the road of pain. Well, my ego got the best of me, and my life is living in vain. It's when I hit rock bottom, hopeless in defeat. That old man that took my hand and he pulled me out of sea. Keep coming back and give your brother to
from up above keep coming back. Give your battle to the blues. Well, keep coming back, boy. Oh, baby, what do you got to lose? Well, keep coming back. Give your battle to the blues. Keep coming back. Yeah, baby, keep coming back. Oh, what do you got to lose?
Rockers in Recovery Radio is based on opinion only and is not meant to treat or diagnose any health or mental health issue of any kind. If you feel you need help for any health-related issues, please contact a physician or mental health professional. The opinions expressed by our guests are not necessarily those of Rockers in Recovery.